If you're just joining us, you're looking at the view of the Northrop Grumman Cygnus XL cargo craft that is currently
using monitor 3. The light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the outline. Light is 1/2 vehicle length forward of the circle, and the circle is in the center of the corridor.
Again, this view of the Cygnus XL, 250 meters below the station.
Work. Monitor 1 looks to match monitor 3. We'll zoom in to double check.
Zena Cardman in the cupola relaying what she's seeing on monitors at the robotics workstation. Meanwhile, the engineers for Northrop Grumman in Dulles, Virginia have taken a poll for a go to resume approach to the station from 250 meters.
Houston Station, with this lighting and angle, it's difficult to see the light in monitor 1, but otherwise all calls match. Monitor 1 and monitor 3.
We copy a similar report for that monitor. Thank you.
With the Northrop Grumman engineers go for resumption of approach from 250 meters, Flight Director Garrett Hain now will poll his team here in Mission Control to receive similar approval to enable Cygnus to resume its approach. Once again, the capture time is estimated at about 6:18 a.m. Central Time, 7:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Installation coverage will begin about an hour and 40 minutes after that. Just to recap, following two abbreviated engine firings that occurred on Tuesday, Northrop Grumman engineers huddled on a new burn plan, ultimately determining that the vehicle's main engine was in good shape, but that the software limits governing those engine firings were set at a very, very conservative level. So those software limits that triggered a premature shutdown of the engine during 2 rendezvous burns, those limits were reset, recomputed, and a new burn plan was devised. In the meantime, Cygnus phased behind the station to a parking orbit some 500 kilometers behind the station at a safe distance from the complex to enable that troubleshooting to take place throughout the day on Tuesday. The new burn plan has been executed flawlessly. All of Cygnus's systems now are operating perfectly, and all the burns have been executed on time and to full duration.
ISS are configured for approach inside the keep out sphere. Expect approach to resume shortly, and stand by for the Cygnus PCS command checkout.
Copies. Standing by for 1.102, step 3.
That call from Aaron Edwards, the Capcom here in Mission Control, to Zena Cardman aboard the station. Situational awareness that we should be seeing the resumption of the approach of Cygnus up the radial vector toward its capture point momentarily.
And station Cygnus has resumed approach. Go for Cygnus PCS command checkout, hold arm for step 3 in 1.102.
Copies. We are go for 1.102, step 3.
Cygnus has resumed, inching its way up the radial vector. The next milestone will be at a point at which Cygnus will reach 100 meters away. There is no stoppage point then. The next planned hold point would come at 30 meters away from the station.
Station, hold arm is command.
And station, we can copy hold command armed. And station, hold arm is confirmed. Go for Cygnus PCS command checkout. Disarm per step 4 in 1.102.
Copies. Go for 1.102, step 4.
Those procedures being radioed up to Zena Cardman essentially involves the crew's actions, should they be necessary, to trigger an abort retreat by Cygnus in the event of a late-minute malfunction of some system. However, Cygnus's systems are rock solid right now. All of its engine firings are on time and to full duration. Everything is continuing to go very smoothly with Cygnus's approach up the radial vector.
And Houston copies. And station Cygnus PCS command checkout was successful. Begin monitoring approach from 250 meters per step 5 and 1.102.
Copies. Continuing with our monitoring for 1.102, step 5.
Cygnus currently about 205 meters below the station, soon to enter the so-called keep-out sphere. This is the very close vicinity, the neighborhood of the International Space Station.
Crew now has the authority to issue an abort if no comms with Houston and the light is outside the corridor.
Copies. We will continue monitoring per 1.102. Block Bravo call using monitor 3. The light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the vehicle outline. The light is 1/4 vehicle length forward of the circle The circle is offset 1 vehicle width starboard from the corridor. We still can't see the lights in monitor 1, but the overlays match between monitor 1 and monitor 3.
Thank you, Zena. That's a nominal report.
Cygnus and the International Space Station flying 260 miles over the Pacific Ocean, crossing the equator, moving from northwest to southeast in its orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. 180 meters now separating Cygnus from the grapple point, the capture point, if you will, at which time Johnny Kim, assisted by Zena Cardman at the Cupola workstation, will be reaching out with the Canadarm2 robotic arm to latch on to the grapple fixture with the Canadarm2's end effector. Whereas Roscosmos's Progress and SpaceX's Dragon cargo ships automatically dock to their respective docking ports on the station, Cygnus and the upcoming Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's HTV X-1 cargo craft require a grapple and a robotic maneuver for mechanical installation into the common berthing mechanisms to which they will be attached and bolted into place. Cygnus now 146 meters directly below the station, once again making its way very, very methodically up the radial vector to its next milestone, which will be the 100-meter range. Cygnus's systems are operating as advertised. Everything in good shape on the unpiloted cargo craft from Northrop Grumman. This is the new model Cygnus, the XL, that is about 26 feet long, capable of carrying more than 11,000 pounds of cargo. A planned stay of about 6 months on the Unity module's common berthing mechanism at the station.
Houston, station space to ground 2, no changes to previous block Bravo call.
We copy. Thanks.
Everything is quiet here in Mission Control at the Northrop Grumman Mission Control Center in Dulles, Virginia. The engineers are carefully watching their consoles, poring over the data coming in from the Cygnus craft, which is operating as advertised. Our estimated capture time is about 41 minutes from now, estimated at 6:18 a.m. Central, 7:18 a.m. Eastern Time. Cygnus was launched atop a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket on Sunday from Pad 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. A little less than 15 minutes after launch, Cygnus separated from the second stage of the Falcon 9 to begin its journey. A journey extended by a day to enable engineers to pore over data associated with the premature shutdown of 2 of the rendezvous burns that Cygnus had conducted, that all traced to extremely conservative software that oversees the engine firings and any fault detection that might be gleaned from the onboard computers. The software limits were recomputed, as was a new burn plan for Cygnus, and since then, all of the engine firings have been conducted perfectly.
Station space to ground 2. High range is 100 meters. No changes to the previous block Bravo call other than the light is now converging on the circle. Monitors 1 and 3 still match. We are just beginning possibly to pick up the lights in monitor 1, but still difficult to see.
That's a good report. Thank you.
Capcom Erin Edwards acknowledging that call from Zena Cardman on board the station as she continues her periodic reports on what she and Johnny Kim are seeing in their monitors as Cygnus continues to close in for its capture, now just 94 meters away. We're about 13 minutes away from an orbital sunrise as the station and Cygnus fly in formation 260 miles over the Pacific Ocean. You can see station structure now in the field of view as Cygnus closes to within about 80 meters. NASA's Johnny Kim, along with Zena Cardman in the workstation at the robotics workstation in the cupola, where they are monitoring Cygnus's approach. Kim will be operating the Canadarm2 to extend its reach to the capture point and then close in very, very methodically for a grapple on the grapple fixture of Cygnus to complete its journey.
Station, space to ground 2, 75-meter prior range, no changes to previous block Bravo call.
We copy your last call, Zena, and for all crew, to prevent potential eye damage during Cygnus approach due to TRIDAR, cease viewing Cygnus from all windows except the cupola.
Station copies.
Essentially, that call from Zena Cardman to Capcom Aaron Edwards, referencing the fact that Cygnus is maintaining a perfect path up the radial vector toward its capture point. The next milestone will be the hold point at 30 meters directly below the station. Cygnus now just 63 meters below the station. Everything proceeding on track, on course. No issues being reported with any of Cygnus's systems. Just to recap, once Cygnus is captured by the Canadarm2 robotic arm, Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman will turn over robotic chores to the robotics officer here in Mission Control, who will begin a very, very slow maneuver to reposition Cygnus so that its common berthing mechanism is aligned with the common berthing mechanism on the Earth-facing port of the Unity module of the International Space Station. Very carefully, very deliberately, the two berthing mechanisms will come into contact with one another to begin the process of mechanically torquing 16 bolts, 4 gangs of 4 bolts apiece, to structurally rigidize Cygnus to the Unity module for its 6-month stay. Flying from northwest to southeast, Cygnus and the International Space Station, 260 statute miles above the Earth. We're about 6 minutes away from an orbital sunrise, so we'll get a much better view of Cygnus in its entirety as it approaches its capture point for Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman to extend the Canadarm2 robotic arm to latch on to Cygnus's grapple fixture.
Station space to ground 2. Fire range 50 meters. Using monitor 3, the light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the outline. The light is centered in the circle, and the circle is offset 1/2 vehicle width starboard from the corridor. Monitors 1 and 3 match.
That's a good report. Thank you, Zena.
"47 meters now separating Cygnus from the station, closing at a rate of less than 1/10 of a meter per second. Again, just a few minutes from now, we'll come up on the final hold point that is planned in this approach, the 30-meter hold point, for a final systems check by the engineers at Northrop Grumman's Mission Control Center in Dulles, Virginia. Countdown clocks here in Mission Control ticking backward to the expected capture time some 28 minutes from now. On console at this hour is the lead Cygnus mission flight director Garrett Hain, joined by spacecraft communicator Aaron Edwards. And again, a brief handover on our constellation of satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll get our television view from the station back just a moment or two from now. Once Cygnus is bolted into place on the Unity module of the station, it will mark 3 different cargo crafts that will have delivered supplies to the station recently: the SpaceX Dragon, the Roscosmos Progress 93, and now the Cygnus XL, the SS Willie McCool. This view is what Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman are seeing on their monitors in the cupola.
Station space to ground 2, 35 meters, no changes to previous Block Bravo call.
We copy 35 meters.
The data on these screens enable Kim and Cardman to monitor the distance by Cygnus from the station, its rate of closure, and the alignment of Cygnus up the corridor, basically the radial vector, this R bar that I've been referencing. The radial vector is the imaginary line drawn between the station and the center of the Earth. The Cygnus approach is directly from a point below the station up the radial vector to the capture point, at which Johnny Kim will extend the Canadarm2 to latch on to the grapple fixture on the SS Willie McCool. And as we approach daylight over the Pacific Ocean, a better view of the Cygnus XL. Just about at the 30-meter hold point. And we now, right at sunrise, have reached that 30-meter hold point.
Station, confirm 30-meter hold and set up for capture per step 6 in 1.102.
Station copies, in work.
In Dulles, Virginia, the Northrop Grumman engineers are conducting a poll to get a go for 30-meter departure.
Houston, station space to ground 2, visiting vehicle mode is hold. Prior range 30.9.
We copy 30.9.
Northrop Grumman's engineers are go for departure. We're standing by for a similar approval from the flight control team here in Houston. An excellent view of the Cygnus XL and its familiar golden fantail-shaped ultraflex solar arrays.
Houston, station space to ground 2, for your awareness, we are in procedure 1.110, starting step 3.
We copy.
That call out by Zena Cardman indicating that she and Johnny Kim are beginning work to configure the Canadarm2 robotic arm to begin its extension to the capture point. The view you're looking at is not the station turning. It is rather the Cronus of flight control position here, repositioning that camera view. You can see at the bottom of your screen the end effector on the Canadarm2 robotic arm. The station in Cygnus approaching the west coast of South America, soon to fly over the Andes Mountains. And just a reminder, once the Canadarm2 reaches out to grapple onto Cygnus's grapple fixture, the actual time that we'll call out for the official confirmation of grapple will come when the snares are closed around the grapple pin. Cygnus and station flying in formation. Cygnus maintains its position right now 30 meters away from the International Space Station, soon to resume its approach for its capture by Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman operating the Canadarm2 robotic arm from the workstation in the cupola. There will be a brief briefing, if you will, to the crew from the Capcom here in Mission Control before we move into the final few feet of the maneuvering of the Canadarm2 for capture. Just a few minutes left right now in this station keeping point, 30 meters below the station. All of Cygnus's systems are operating normally. Cygnus and the station now passing off the east coast of South America. The Cygnus XL making its debut for Northrop Grumman, 26 feet in length, capable of carrying more than 11,000 pounds of cargo, soon to become the second unpiloted cargo ship to arrive at the station in just 4 days.
Houston, station, space to ground 2. Crew is ready for Cygnus approach to capture point.
And we copy. And station Cygnus is ready to proceed to the capture point. Expect approach to resume shortly.
Station copies.
Those words from Capcom Aaron Edwards here in Mission Control up to Zena Cardman in the cupola, notifying the crew that Cygnus, all of its systems in great shape, ready to begin its final approach for capture.
And Zena, just so you're tracking, we notice in monitor 1 there's a bit of an exposure or overexposure. We're going to send a command to clear that up.
Copy and appreciate. Looks much better in monitor 1. Thank you.
A great view of the Cygnus XL and the station's Canadarm2 robotic arm poised to begin moving in for a grapple. Capture about 13 minutes from now. The two vehicles flying in formation over the South Atlantic.
Station space to ground 2 for a Black Bravo call.
Send it, Zena.
Using monitor 3, the light is in the corridor. The vehicle size matches the vehicle outline. The light is approximately 1/4 vehicle width aft and starboard of the circle, and the circle is in the center of the corridor. Monitors 1 and 3 match.
We copy. That's a good report, and you've got a same on monitors 1 and 3.
Those reports from Zena Cardman confirming that Cygnus is aligned in the approach corridor, just as expected, some 26 meters separating Cygnus from its capture point.
And station Cygnus has resumed approach to the capture point. Monitor approach within 30 meters per step 7 and 1.102.
Copies in work.
"24 meters away. Cygnus's systems functioning as advertised. No issues reported. So far, a perfect approach.
Station space to ground 2, Black Bravo, no change on monitor 3. On monitor 1, the circle is centered on the corridor and the light is centered in the circle.
We copy. That's a nominal report.
Just about 21 meters separating Cygnus XL from its capture. The station's robotic arm poised to move in to grapple the grapple fixture on the Northrop Grumman cargo craft that will complete its 4-day journey. Once again, we've hit a handover between satellites on our tracking and data relay satellite system. We'll regain our downlink video from the station here momentarily. Cygnus slowly but surely moving in for its capture, now just 18 meters away.
Houston, station space to ground 2, inside of 20 meters, block Bravo call. On monitor 3, the light is within the corridor. Vehicle size matches the outline. The light is centered in the circle, and the circle is centered in the corridor. Monitors 1 and 3 match.
We copy. Good report.
We're about 7.5 minutes away by the clock to our expected capture time. Some 15 meters now separating Cygnus from the point at which it is expected to be grappled by the Canadarm2 robotic arm under the operation of Johnny Kim and Zena Cardman at the robotic workstation in the cupola. It has been a very, very smooth rendezvous since the recomputed rendezvous burn plan began to be executed last night by the Northrop Grumman engineers in Dulles, Virginia. All of the milestones en route to the station have been met per the revised timeline, setting ourselves up for an expected capture at around 6:18 a.m. Central Time, 7:18 a.m. Eastern Time. The word now from the flight control team is that Cygnus has arrived at its capture point It is at a range of about 17 meters away from the station. Cygnus now will be configured basically into a quiescent mode so that there are no inadvertent thruster firings during the time frame that Johnny Kim begins to extend the Canadarm2 robotic arm for grapple. Northrop Grumman reporting that all of Cygnus XL's systems are now configured for capture.
Capture point hold for step 8 in 1.102.
Copy is in work.
This is Mission Control Houston. We're expecting a resumption of downlink video from the International Space Station momentarily. The Cygnus XL spacecraft that has performed perfectly since a recomputed burn plan was uplinked to the vehicle yesterday.
Capture conditions are confirmed. The crew is ready for Cygnus capture, and we will pick up in 1.110 step 4. On your go.
Roger, and stand by for capture.
With just 12 meters separating Cygnus from the International Space Station.
And station, you are go for Cygnus capture sequence, step 4 in 1.110, Cygnus capture. Begin monitoring the backaway cue card.
Copies. We are go for the capture sequence, picking up in procedure 1.110, step 4, backaway cue card now applied.
And with that call, Johnny Kim will begin to extend the Canadarm2 robotic arm toward the grapple fixture on Cygnus. This view from the end effector camera on the Canadarm2 robotic arm, looking right at the grapple fixture on the Cygnus XL, flanked on either side of its fuselage by the Ultraflex solar arrays. Cygnus and the station currently crossing the southwest coast of Africa, moving from southwest to northeast. Johnny Kim at the controls operating the Canadarm2 robotic arm. And the report is that Cygnus is rock solid, holding steady, awaiting its capture. We're just a moment or two away from seeing the station's thrusters inhibited to prevent any inadvertent firings during the time frame that the Canadarm2 is moving in for its grapple. Just a couple of additional steps here to make sure that all of the station systems are configured properly before Kim begins to move the Canadarm2 in for its grapple. This is the view from the end effector camera on Canadarm2, looking directly at that grapple fixture. The space station now has been commanded into free drift. All thrusters are disabled.
In station, for your awareness, we are beginning our approach.
We copy.
Canadarm2 now in motion. It's go time for Johnny Kim. Cygnus holding very, very steady. Good motion from the arm reported by the robotics officer here in Mission Control. Just a couple of meters away from grapple. 2 meters. Just 1 meter now. And defector approaching the pin. We have soft capture now awaiting snares. And the snares have closed. Signal arrival, Cygnus now at the International Space Station. Grapple time at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time. The International Space Station was flying over the southeastern Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, at the time of capture. Once again, capture timed at 6:24 a.m. Central, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time. Cygnus's journey to the station now complete, and soon will be attached mechanically to the Unity module of the International Outpost. So all of the rendezvous maneuvers that were based and executed from a revised burn plan that began to unfold late last night were conducted flawlessly by Cygnus. All of its systems performed perfectly, arriving at the station for a grapple at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time.
Station on 2, Cygnus capture complete. Go for Cygnus post-capture reconfiguration. A big congratulations to the NASA and Cygnus teams for a successful Cygnus launch, rendezvous, and capture. Adapting and overcoming unforeseen challenges is something we do at NASA, and I'm very proud to be a part of this team. I'd like to hand the comm over to my crewmate and friend, Mike Fink, who has something very special to say about NG-23.
Yeah, today we welcome aboard the SS William C. McCool. Willie, yeah, he was my astronaut classmate, class of 96, fellow Sardine. He's a gifted pilot, a devoted crewmate, and a man of deep humility whose life continues to inspire us. To see a ship bearing his name safely arrive at the station is a reminder that his courage and kindness are still circling our beautiful planet Earth. Willie and his STS-107 crewmates gave their lives in the pursuit of science, and the experiments they carried aloft continue to shape research today. So, to the teams at Northrop Grumman and NASA who made this mission possible, thank you for the care and dedication that keep us supplied and connected with home. Every cargo transfer bag, every experiment, every piece of hardware and spare part inside this Cygnus carries your hard work and our gratitude. Willie's legacy lives on in this moment, in our mission, and in the future that we're building together in low Earth orbit and onto the Moon and Mars.
And thanks for that, folks. And from us, a huge congratulations from the team here in Houston and our partners on what is the 51st catch using the Canadarm2. Capturing the SS McCool, as you said, brings aboard important science and supplies that will allow you to continue our mission of discovery on station. Mike, thanks for your words about your friend and our late NASA colleague, Commander William McCool, the namesake of this incredible vehicle. We all think he would have been really proud of the collaboration and perseverance that made this mission a success. Thank you all.
With Cygnus in the firm handshake of the Canadarm2 robotic arm. Those words first from Johnny Kim of NASA, congratulating the Northrop Grumman NASA team for the flawless rendezvous and capture of Cygnus that occurred at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time, and Mike Fink chiming in with words of tribute to the late NASA astronaut Willie McCool, who lost his life in the Columbia accident on February 1st, 2003. Cygnus bearing McCool's name, soon to be mechanically attached to the Unity module of the International Space Station. With Cygnus having been captured by the Canadarm2 robotic arm just a few minutes ago, it will be about an hour and a half to 2 hours before it is mechanically attached to the Unity module on the Earth-facing side of the U.S. segment of the International Space Station. In the meantime, joining us here on console is Bill Spetch, the International Space Station Program's Operations Integration Manager. Bill, thanks for joining us today. A day late, but not a dollar short. Better late than never. Cygnus safely in the grasp of the Canadarm2. Give us a little insight into what transpired over the last 24 to 36 hours that revised the plan to enable Cygnus to come home safely here.
Yeah, as you guys know, it's a very intricate planning exercise that we have to go through to arrive at space station and rendezvous at a very specific point in space. And so when we had a couple of issues with a couple of burns getting cut short, that caused that trajectory to be off. And so it takes some time to go replan that and making sure that we could arrive at station safely. So the teams took the requisite time to do that replanning, and we ended up here this morning getting successfully captured.
In the end, the spacecraft, the Cygnus itself, performed as advertised, as it was supposed to in its software protection, if you will. Can you give us a little more information about exactly what happened and how Northrop Grumman's engineers worked in concert with NASA to revise this plan?
Sure. The Cygnus spacecraft has a number of monitors that it watches to make sure that everything is going healthy. In this case, there was one specific parameter that appeared to be just off late in these burns that we had cut off, and so that worked exactly as expected, monitoring a current into the engine. And when it does that, it shuts off the burn. And now we're a little bit short on where we needed to be. And so that causes us to actually race out farther in front of the station as opposed to slowing down and coming up underneath it. So we had to do a bit of a racetrack maneuver to burn, then to get above the station, come around behind it, and come back down below to catch up again.
So with today's arrival of Cygnus and its imminent attachment to the station coming up in the next hour and a half or so, that is the second cargo craft to arrive at the station in just 4 days in the wake of the Progress 93, the Roscosmos cargo ship this past Saturday. Some 8.5 tons of cargo arriving at the station in rapid-fire succession. How important was this series of delivery runs?
Oh, it's critically important. You know, we've gone a little bit in terms of time in between major resupplies. Although SpaceX 33 just arrived as well, so this fall we always knew was very, very busy in terms of the amount of cargo. This brings up a lot of critical consumables for the crew, food, water, a lot of extra spares, and of course the great science that we get to do on board the station. So these regular resupply runs and especially this great capability that Cygnus brings and the amount of cargo that it brings to us is critical for us to keep us running smooth and doing the things that we need to do on board to do the research.
You mentioned a busy fall, but it doesn't stop. We're just about 4.5 weeks away from the next cargo ship launch, the debut of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's HTV X1. I know the reviews are beginning in earnest for that launch from the Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan. What will HTV X1 bring to the table in terms of more cargo and more capability for these delivery activities for the station?
Yeah, it really brings an excellent capability to provide both internal cargo as well as external cargo from just a completely different source. And what we like to do is have as many different sources of resupply as we can. Obviously, if something goes wrong, God forbid that we run into an issue with one aspect of our fleet, having multiple resupply capabilities really is what makes this partnership so strong.
Okay, Bill, very good. Cygnus now in the grasp of the Canadarm2, soon to be mechanically attached to the station, and then the crew can work its way towards opening the hatch probably later today to begin unloading its cargo. We appreciate your time this morning, as always. Bill Spetch, the Operations Integration Manager for the International Space Station Program. Thanks much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
This is Mission Control Houston, a good view of the SS Willie McCool, the Northrop Grumman Cygnus XL cargo craft that arrived at the space station after a flawless rendezvous this morning, with its grapple by the Canadarm2 robotic arm having been executed at 6:24 a.m. Central Time, 7:24 a.m. Eastern Time, as the two vehicles flew 260 miles over Central Africa. The robotics officer here in Mission Control will soon begin to maneuver Cygnus to its installation position on the Earth-facing side of the U.S. segment of the station, ultimately positioning it for alignment for a mechanical capture to the common berthing mechanism on the Unity module of the International Outpost. We will take a break in our coverage now and return at 8 a.m. Central Time, 9 a.m. Eastern Time for installation coverage to latch up the newly arrived Cygnus XL spacecraft to the International Space Station. In the meantime, this is Mission Control Houston.